Hello there. In today's episode we are going to be talking about how to make your Android game look a little bit better with post-processing volume. So this is how it looks without it. It looks definitely like an Android game, but this is how it looks with it. It looks 100 times better, to be honest. So you can just come in here and type in post process volume, drag it into your scene. If you are going to be having one post-processing volume, then you need to have infinite extent or unbound checked. Let's get into the post-processing volume and talk a little bit about all the effects in here. So one thing to note is that how you can make your games better. This is the first question you have to ask yourself. For me, I'm working on Android. I can't have a lot of effects, different effects. Most of the effects we use are just post-processing effects, so it's all being processed by GPU and are not as expensive. I mean, if you're using something like ray tracing, it's definitely going to be expensive, but in mobile we are going to be using a lot of effects that are available to us. Another thing to note is that if you're using ES3.1 and 2, it's definitely going to be different than Vulkan Desktop, which can support volumetric fog and ray tracing, lens flare and reflections and everything pretty much. So this video is about ES3.1 and 2 or OpenGL. So the first thing I'd suggest you go ahead and choose, definitely use it, is mobile depth of field. Don't use this one. This one doesn't look really good. Make sure you have a focal region, not something like 2000, that would look really bad. Something like 4000. Some near transition effect as well, and make sure to play around with this scale a little bit. I mean, it doesn't really affect the look much, but here we are. The second one is bloom. Bloom is like a pretty old effect. It's like for 2-3 generations ago. The intensity should be as highest as possible, but the threshold shouldn't be low. So this is how it's gonna look with a low threshold. It's gonna look really old and washed out, but if you crank it up a little bit, you will have some bloom from the meshes that are really bright, and that's something that will make everything more real. The exposure, it's not set to manual, it's normally set to auto exposure histogram. You should go ahead and set this one to manual and make sure that the exposure compensation is set to something that you'll see in the editor. So you have to, if you work on ES3.1 and 2, you have to set this one manually. There's no other way to do it. The next one, I mean, unfortunately we don't have lens flare, but if you're working again on Vulkan Desktop, you'll have lens flare and probably depth of field and I mean, a lot of different things. Depth mask even, we don't have it in mobile, so that's kind of unfortunate. We don't have these options for mobile as well. Then we are going to be using reflections. We don't have screen space in mobile. All we have is just cube maps. So if you don't know how or what cube maps are, you can just come in here in the visual effects, sphere reflection capture. You just drag them into your scene, and then you'll just come in here, build reflection captures, and you'll have cube map reflections. There's nothing else to talk about it, to be honest. The next one is going to be ambient occlusion. This is something that needs to be available, needs to be enabled in the project settings. Go to edit, project settings, rendering, and then mobile ambient occlusion. If you don't have it checked in here, it won't work, but if you have it checked in here and if you're using UE 5.3, it will just work. If it doesn't work, just come in here, type in r.mobile.ambient occlusion quality and type 1. It will make sure that it enables the effect. And if you want to have it in your game, go to your level blueprint, make sure in the event begin play here, just type in execute console command and r.mobile got ambient occlusion quality. I'm gonna Control C, Control V1, and make sure this one's hooked up and hit compile. So the intensity should be something like 1. Don't touch radius too much, it won't really look good. I mean, the default value is really good. Power is gonna be something a little bit more than 2, maybe like something like 4. It depends on your engine version, it depends on a lot of different things. One thing to note is that it's gonna be a little bit expensive on all the devices, but if your target platforms are something like Samsung Galaxy S23, 24 Ultra or something like really powerful, you shouldn't have any problems. But if you're targeting something like Xiaomi, I don't know, Note 8, 7, 6, something really old, or Samsung, I mean something that's gonna be really lower end, then you're probably gonna have a little bit of problem. And the way you can just turn it off in the game is by using r.mobile ambient occlusion quality and set this to 0, and it will get rid of the effect eventually. And this is it. I hope it helped you, and if it did, please hit that like button and have a great day. Bye.